Things have changed, haven't they, Imran? From the time when you got away with playing really characters who were literally on the edge of the abyss, and who could sort of tumble over and become really evil. We seem to now be in an era of biopics of great soldiers, good police officers. You yourself are playing one, I think, in Mumbai Saga. You're not playing the Don for a change. You're playing the
Yeah, I'm a police
yeah.
officer.
So, do you think it's because society has changed? Because are we more comfortable with ourselves, or do we want to see only heroes? What has changed?
I think there is a lot of hero worshipping in our country.
Yeah.
I think there is a market for a certain kind of film that works, and it has worked in the past. And these films have been money spinners. And like I said, that they don't want to really change something that's working fine. No one wants to take the first step and change things around.
Although we have seen that such films do well. Your films in the 2000s did extremely well.
Yes, I mean, I'm talking about the majority of the industry,
Right.
and the way it's been pitched. I mean, even in the way the kind of biopics are made.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to play up the gallery to a certain point. I think with, like I said, with OTT, things are changing, and they will progressively change, and you will see a very different kind, like the heroes and characters have always evolved through the times. I think now we are grappling with a very different kind of hero. We don't know what it would be after this era. I don't know what will come out of this.
Yeah.
When we cross this pandemic, what will be the kind of film that will be more palatable for the audience? What will be that hero that they want to watch?
Right.
That is a big question mark at the moment.
It could well be the kind of hero that Hussain has written, Endgame, right? I see Imran playing Vikrant Singh very well. What do you think?
No, of course. I mean, I see him in a lot of my characters actually, and I even proposed to him to portray one of my characters if possible sometime in future. So he's good as Vikrant. I mean, muscular, strong, brave, intense.
Yeah, we were just talking about
I don't
his
say that the
muscularity.
last time we cracked a joke about it, I actually ended up doing it.
What was this?
It was doing Part of Blood, actually.
Part of Blood, yeah. Yeah.
Under his imprint, it was written by
Bilal Siddiqui,
Bilal
the
Siddiqui, yeah.
co-writer.
Yeah.
and the press journal in the conference just asked, do you think you would like to play a character like this? And I just joked and said that only if the director adds a kiss in the film. But fast forward 5 years after that, 4 years after that, I ended up doing the Netflix show.
Right.
But director did add a kiss which he had refused actually.
Which I was resisting.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but
I feel that he'll be very good as Vikrant Singh. What are the qualities that make him an excellent and committed police officer as well, Hussain? What would be those
as I started that, I find Imran to be very sensitive, very intense. I realized that the man is very dedicated and devoted, even in his real life. So to portray those kind of qualities on screen is not very different for him, or it won't be acting at all. It would be his real self. And my hero Vikrant Singh is a man who is loyal to his mentor, who is very dedicated to his cause, and is also sensitive at the same time that he should not, just because he's going after terror kind of sleeper cells, he should not alienate a whole community. Vikrant Singh himself is a Hindu guy, but he's very concerned about upsetting Muslims during the quest for busting a terror cell. So those are qualities which we have always seen Imran projecting in the movie, that intense character, the man who is within control and he's not giving out much, but at the same time he's totally devoted to the mission that he has taken on himself. And in Mumbai Saga also he's playing an encounter specialist. So I guess that you are going to see a lot of that thing in this movie.
where John Abraham is the gangster? That's a switch, isn't it? It's usually the
when I heard the script, when Sanjay Gupta was narrating the script, I was like, okay, the gangster, and halfway through the narration, he said, okay, you're the cop. I was like, okay, this is intriguing because I've never played a cop like this. I've never played a cop actually. I've always, I'm the face for everything immoral and unethical in life, and in people and those kind of personality traits.
Discount gangster CBI officer, that is.
Yeah, but he is no less than a gangster. I mean,
Okay.
he is very fierce. It's like one of those get a thief to catch a thief kind of guy.
Right.
And he wouldn't, he feels fair means if possible, unfair means if necessary.
Right.
He wants to put a bullet in this guy. And very interesting character. Very interesting character. I mean, after Once Upon a Time in Mumbai, I've heard a lot of scripts, and this is what happens. A film does well. A lot of people come to you for a certain kind of film and replicate it. But nothing came close to that. I think this is a very special film. I've always wanted to be part of a Sanjay Gupta film. So it was a no-brainer for me.
Imran, what was your experience playing Kabir Anand, playing a part in a streaming series? How was that different? How was the rhythm different from a movie and what you've done so far?
It's not very different, but at the same time, you have to be in for the long haul. A certain dedication is extremely important because it's like literature. I mean, there's a lot of material there. It's not like a 2-hour film.
Right.
So obviously the commitment for dates and shoots becomes a lot more. And for the adaptation of Out of Blood to the screen for Netflix was a huge task because we shot in 6 different locations.
Right.
We shot in Leh Ladakh when it was like, the high altitude. Hussain Zaidi also came there.
Oh, really?
Problem there with the altitude.
There I was shooting, yeah.
But that having those things put aside, I think it's pretty much the same. But you have to understand that it's a very different key.
Yeah.
For an OTT platform.
Right.
But how was it playing an RW operative?
Sorry?
How was it playing RW operative, a washed up guy, an officer who's carrying a cross on his shoulder?
Pretty good.
Different experience, a different role?
Pretty good. I've always wanted to play a spy, and I always say this, that, in a Hindi film construct, you'll have a spy sing 4 songs.
Yeah.
So then goes the entire seriousness,
Yeah.
the gravitas of the character.
Yeah.
So here, when I was playing Kabir Anand, I think the angst-ridden character, the way it was written, and to kind of put that up on screen, a man who's kind of being chased by these demons from his past, he wants to kind of wash that away. He's looking for these answers. He's a very driven character. He's a very ambitious character. And I'm always for these active characters. I don't really go for the kind of passive lot. I mean, he's devious in his own ways. He wants to accomplish what he wants to accomplish. Again, fair means if necessary, unfair means if possible. But he wants to do it. He wants to get to his goal. And I found that very, very intriguing. And it was a great journey. I mean, 7 episodes, a lot of shoots, but I think it was all worth it.
What was the reaction you had from your fans? You have some crazy fans as well.
Tremendous reaction. And also tapped into another sphere of people who had never watched my films.
Right.
I think the Netflix audience now, I mean, it is a mixed bag, but there's also a certain audience that probably doesn't watch too many Hindi films. A certain affluent audience that hasn't watched my films. And I got a sense when, I used to go out and interact with people, when you go out to restaurants, when you go out places, there's a certain audience that has kind of never really come up to me. And that was because of Bar of Blood. And the main thing was that when are you making the second season? Because it ends at such a high point.
Exactly.
People don't expect that.
Yeah.
So I won't put all the spoilers here. But it ends at a high point that people, even right now, the tweets and the messages that I get, when is it going under production? And people are like, oh God, now there's this pandemic.
Yeah.
So we have to probably wait for some more time.
But you do have second season, don't you?
It is.
Yeah.
We just have to figure out when we're going to shoot, when we get out of this. Because again, it's an ambitious shoot, lots of locations, so we have to plan it well.
I just want to ask you, Imran, since we talked a little just before the interview, how has it been as an actor sitting through these 3 months, 4 months, looking at all the stories around you as well? I think Bollywood has never been so much in the news as it is now. You see this, the outsider-insider debate. You see actors rating fellow actors as A-list, B-grade, whatever. How do you view it? uh, it's a strange time, isn't it?
If COVID wasn't strange enough, I think the vibe outside, and you get a sense of it from social media. I think it's extremely toxic, and it's just not needed in a time like this. I wouldn't want to comment too much about the case and Sushant, but just the fact that your heart goes out to the family at this point of time, and you need to allow them to kind of heal through this. It's become a bit of a circus on social media. I don't want to mince my words in this, and it's something I stay away from. I mean, there are a lot of people who have asked me to kind of comment on things like nepotism and stuff, and I said I've already put that out. I've already given a comment about it. I mean, it's been fueled, and people are kind of they have their egos at play. People are kind of bashing each other. They've had probably things from the past, and they're kind of settling those scores. It seems like that, and I think it's extremely toxic. I think I hope it ends soon. I mean, but every day you see it's kind of fueled more and more, and I don't know when there's any end line to this.
A lot of the players are people you've worked with, or people you've worked with and are related to. Does that bother you? Say a Kannada is involved, or Mahesh Bhatt.
I don't really know the point of it all. I really don't understand the point of it all. It's, like I said, it's extremely toxic. There are people I work with, and I don't know. I just wouldn't want to comment beyond a point, because it's. Sometimes I feel I should go off social media. I just get on and I start seeing every day. You get up to a fresh, and also the media. I mean, yes, there are great journalists there, and they're doing the job, but it's become this space where you don't know if it's actually journalism in some places or it's entertainment. There's a very thin line that's kind of blurred, and you don't know what's true and what's not true. I mean, there are stories that come out one day that are shot down the next day, and they're like, okay, I didn't say this. So how did that quote go out there? So I think it's time to kind of insulate yourself. Otherwise, one might go completely mad.
How are you staying sane?
How am I staying sane?
Yeah.
I work out. I do my reading. I don't read too much of the news. And I tell my wife at home, I'm like, first it was COVID. And we were constantly reading about COVID, and it went on. And this kind of has its effect on your psyche. And now it's the case that's been going on. I'm like, I just stay away from it as much as possible, because it's just a kind of cesspool that you don't want to get dragged into. So, watch movies, do your thing, read scripts. Don't engage in this too much. I try not to engage in it too much.
Hussain, what have you been doing? Have you written another bestseller while we were all reading Endgame?
Actually, I mean, that is, I do for a living. I write. So now with advent of OTT, I've been also looking at certain scripts and trying to crack certain scripts into season mode. So it's books, writing my own books, then mentoring the books which my authors do in imprint, and then writing scripts. So it's writing something which keeps me very busy. I don't get time to watch movies, or since I'm not at all on social media, so I don't even know what exactly is happening there and how crazy the whole atmosphere is.
That's the best thing on social media.
So when I see what Imran is going through, what Imran is talking about, I feel very fortunate to be away and aloof from all that.
Right.
Yeah.
Hussain, I also wanted to ask you, how is the international mafia, since you played quite a big role in Misha's research as well for Mafia. How has the international mafia changed, and where is India's role in it now? It's almost become like arms plus drugs plus a global trade.
See, whole problem here is that in India, we are so obsessed with Dawood Ibrahim and his clan and other gangsters who are actually pygmies when we compare them to international syndicates.
Absolutely.
In Russia, actually, or in most of the other countries, you will see that the mafia pulls strings. They are the one who are controlling the government.
Yeah.
And here, even if our mafia can be friends with one MLA or one MP, they make such a big hoo-ha about it. And they don't know that mafia is virtually running the government by proxy in so many other places. I mean, in Europe, in CIS countries, at so many other places. And our mafia is a very small, minuscule part of this syndicate that's happening in the world. What are we dealing with? Maybe we're dealing with drugs, maybe extortion, a bit of gun running. But their mafia, they are into totally different. They are running banks. They are actually ruling the currency. They are doing the gold market. Their business is far higher and a different scale than what we are. But since we live in a small kind of atmosphere and we are obsessed thinking that these are biggest demons that we know, or Dawood Ibrahim is the biggest gangster in the world, so we kind of tend to exaggerate our own reality, which is actually very limited and small when we compare it to the international scenario. I wish, our guys can read more and they can know more about the triads, about the Russian mafia, about the European Corsicans and all those Italian mafias. They will know that what we are is actually very small in comparison.
And yet our mafia has also become communal, the way it's portrayed. You want to talk a little about that, the rise of
that's one point which I keep trying to explain that through my writings and in my speeches, that our mafia is not communal. It was one MasterCard, one masterstroke that was played by one gangster, Chota Rajan, in 1994 to demarcate or to gain some sympathy. Otherwise, you see both Hindu-Muslim gangsters on each side. Dawood has Hindu gangsters in his fold and Chota Rajan has Muslim gangsters with him. If it was really communal, then those gangsters should be Hindu gang and Muslim gang. But it is a Dawood gang and Chota Rajan gang. And in 1993 blast, when Chota Rajan left Dawood gang, he wanted some sympathy and support from the Indian government and of course by the majority of Indians. So what do? First you call that gangster traitor. You call him Deshdrohi, and then the whole country will turn against that gangster and you will get a lot of sympathy. Which is exactly what even Ravi Pujari did afterwards. Even Ravi Pujari started playing the patriotic card. So now you're in movies, you have a patriotic gangster and you have a traitor gangster. But actually, if you look at the list of the people who are affiliated with these gangs, you will find that there's no communal element there. Both the gangs have both the people there. Muslims in Hindu gangs and Hindus in Muslim gangs. So actually, there's no communalism here. It's only a bogey. It's only a projection that is made by these gangsters.
Right. Imran, when you look around you now, when you talk about COVID and the kind of changes that will possibly bring up in storytelling as well, what kind of stories do you think will work now?
I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just waiting for the business to open up, theaters to open up, for film shoots to start. But we don't know how that's going to happen because, there's again this, there's a pause on theaters. There's a pause on shoots at the moment because, we aren't very disciplined. We have 100 people on a film set and hygiene is not, really up to the mark. It's something that we have to completely change and there has to be a complete overhaul of things. And if there's anything that we as an industry resist, that is change. And that's what's important right now. But it'll be a struggle. I think post the lockdown opening up, I don't think there's a certain frivolity in a certain cinema that won't work. We've been forced to experience something that's deeper inside. Could be our health. It's fear of that for loved ones. That changes you. It's like any catastrophic event changes people. It's a war-like scenario changes people. This is unseen. I was talking to my dad the other day. Even back in the day, he's never seen something this long drawn. We're already into the 5th month of a lockdown. It's worse than a war scenario. And we don't know when the no end line in sight. I think once things open up, it's a struggle. We'll know what works, what doesn't work, what kind of characters will emerge, what kind of new stories have to be told. Will it be comedy? I'm guessing it'll be comedy because people would want to feel better.
Escape.
People have been extremely morose and stressed out, probably depressed. Depression is another thing that's come to the forefront. There are so many cases right now in our country where depression has always been a stigma. You see this around that people are talking about their state right now and their mental state. And it just has deteriorated for everyone. maybe comedy is the way. Maybe that's something that people want to see.
You're very good at that, so that's fine.
Well, that's why I've signed on to comedies.
Oh, you have?
Yeah. Whenever we go on floor, it's a different experience. Anything will be out somewhere early next year. So
what's it called?
Well, untitled yet.
Okay.
Untitled yet. It's still being scripted.
Okay.
Whenever the shoots start, I first have a bunch of shoots to complete. I have Mumbai Saga to complete. We have around a week of shoot left. So once that releases and Cherry releases, then we'll go on.
You have Cherry as well. What you're playing in Cherry, and you're with Mr. Bachchan.
Yes. That's another one off my bucket list.
Yes.
And wonderful experience working with him. Great story.
Is it a thriller or?
It's a psychological thriller.
Okay.
Yeah.
The body was also quite good, and you got to play with Rishi Kapoor. I think one of his last films.
Yes.
Did you enjoy that?
Oh, I loved it. With Rishi sir, there was always this image of him, through social media, and just the way he used to his lovely flowery 11 o'clock at night tweets, and such a warm person, and such a huge loss for the industry. Such a great actor, and I felt that there's so much talent and creativity that could have come out, and a lot more films, a lot more landmark characters that he could have played. For that matter, even Irfan. Irfan. And I've worked with both, and such wonderful human beings, and such a big loss for the industry. It really is. But yeah, they will be missed.
So you think comedy could be one way that we sort of adjust to the new normal, so to speak?
Probably, and also I think with people sitting at home, because they've been consuming so much of OTT platform content, that taste buds have definitely kind of, in a way, altered.
Right.
For the better.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they would come in the numbers to see what there was before.
Right.
Let's face it, there's a certain frivolity in our kind of cinema. There are a lot of things that we get away with. And a lot of stereotypes that we get away with. But kind of OTT is kind of smashing all of that. And it's putting out some really good content. Like I was seeing the show yesterday. I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen Succession?
Yeah, my God.
Oh, it's a brilliant show. I just finished it 2 days back, and I'm like, what are we doing? Like, what? When you see
Brian Cox's character.
You see a show like that, and you're like, God, I wish, we are years away from this. The kind of the writing, the kind of performances, the direction. I just hope we kind of gravitate towards that kind of cinema. It's realistic, it's gritty, it's entertaining at the same time. I just hope this changes for the better.
Hussain, you'll have to write those stories, so you better get ready.
I don't know, somehow I don't get kick about doing anything besides thriller, or there is something about high-end stakes and major diabolical conspiracies, plots. I mean, that's the thing which gives me the rush, that gives me the really satisfaction of doing a story. Comedy, I can't write. Love story, I can't even imagine. So,
I've not done it for the longest time. I keep playing directors. Like I don't understand love stories.
Yeah.
Like my wife has always told me I'm a hopeless romantic. I know I'm going to play that on screen.
No, but the way you proposed to your wife and the way that love story unfolded is really beautiful.
How did you propose to your wife, Imran? What is this secret that we don't know?
I don't know. Like, there was no grand moment in that way, but it was just like, we've done funny things like put like a ring in a champagne glass. She almost choked on it.
God.
She almost called the whole thing off. But I was chasing her for the longest time.
I think you proposed
things got worse with her family when I did Murder. Because my image was completely ruined there. And like, isko kaise damad, ye kaisa damad jo ghar pe aa raha hai? It's ridiculous. We can't marry into his family. We don't know how he is.
Yeah.
But then I had a lot of convincing to do, and more convincing after these films, after I kind of established that image.
Right.
But I think I stalked her into marrying me. I pretty much stalked her. If you ask her, that's what she'd say.
Maybe something your fans should not follow, but let's leave it.
Yeah, please. I'm the worst role model. Please don't follow me.
But Imran, really, when you look back at your career, what gives you satisfaction?
Just being on a film set,
Right.
just portraying characters, just working. It was an accident. I never wanted to be an actor, and then I realized that after the first film and seeing myself on screen, I'm like, okay, I can do this for a living. And as years went by, I got really passionate about it. I kind of learned the craft, honed skills, and it got better. It got easier. At the same time, there was a challenge when I was, stepping out of my comfort zone. Very few films allow you to step out of your comfort zone here. Again, that's another thing about Bollywood. And I hope
Shanghai, for instance, one of the finest roles I think.
Yes.
Played.
Shanghai was a film which again was a huge step out of my comfort zone. It was a character that I didn't completely understand. I was playing very urbanized characters before that, very cool characters before that.
Right.
There was a guy from a small town with this inferiority complex.
Right.
And I had to go through umpteen workshops and kind of mold myself into that character. And that was a tremendous experience. But I wish and hope I get to do more of the same.
Absolutely.
With a lot of films. But I think it's the scripts. It's great material. It's envisioning that material, tapping into the writer's mind, tapping into the director's mind, and then somehow struggle and put it up there. In that is a joy that I can't explain.
Yeah.
I'm trying to put that up on celluloid and make it work.
Why don't you write a book in this lockdown, Imran, if you're at home?
No, I don't have the discipline. I used to do this way back. I used to do these morning pages where I used to get up and write down fill up 2-3 A4 size pages. And I've been
pursuing you for the longest time, one particular book which you can do. And I don't want
He's been chasing me up. Both these, Jerry, please.
Yeah.
He's been chasing me since 4 years to write another book.
So
You hear which book he wants you to write.
I'm saying that Imran is such a lover boy, and they look at him as for a romantic images that he has portrayed.
Yeah.
And right from everything, like chasing a girl to serial kissing, everything. So I was telling him, why don't you play a love guru? These days.
Wow, that's a lovely idea.
People these days want advice, suggestions. They want that, they should follow someone. Here, he's a young, romantic guy, very intense lover guy, who can advise them how to, now just like he said that how he stalked his wife, his girlfriend became his wife, how he convinced her.
I don't think that's the kind of advice that people want.
So my whole point that he has won against all odds. He is a fantastic, perfect love guru for all those guys who are aspiring to romance or love, fall in love and, marry a girl of the dream.
Yeah.
He's been wrestling that idea for the last 4 years now.
Hussain, I will now join you in persuading Imran to do this for sure.
I think doing great injustice to the younger generation, Imran. I'm telling you, they can benefit with your experience, and you can really guide them and make them, follow the right way to.
You see my wife's expression. I'm thinking of writing a book called Love Guru.
She can write the foreword.
What are you going to tell them? Stop misguiding people. It's ridiculous. This is a sham.
You can be a mentor for them, and you can really tell them how to fall in love and how to ensure that you woo your girlfriend, how to court her, and how to win her heart. I think that would be a phenomenal thing to do.
She's still selling. I will think about it.
4 years, but
I might just take him up on this offer. I might just take him up on this offer.
I think it's a great idea. And on that wonderful note, I think we should end this conversation. Thank you both very much for continuing to tell your stories and for entertaining so many of us, especially during this lockdown. Once we come out of it, it'll be interesting to see what stories are being told and what stories Imran will be part of as well. Thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Imran,
Kabir.
and thank you, Hussain, and
Thank you.
all the best to Endgame.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Cheers.
Bye.